Her giant boyfriend promised to snap my neck. The air in the diner tasted of grease and desperation, the kind that clung to your skin like damp cigarette smoke. My phone buzzed on the chipped Formica table, Lena's name flashing across the screen. Her text was a single line, jagged as a broken bottle. Meet me. Corner of 5th and Pine. My gut twisted, not from the burnt coffee sloshing in my cup, but from the way her words felt like a summons to a guillotine. I'd known Lena for 6 years, best friends since college, inseparable through heartbreak and hangovers. But lately, her silences had grown heavier, her glances sharper, like she was carving secrets into the space between us. I stepped into the night, the city's pulse throbbing under my boots. The street lamps flickered, casting long shadows that seemed to stalk me as I walked. Lena was waiting under a crooked awning, her auburn hair catching the neon glow of a pawn shop sign. Her arms were crossed, her jaw tight, but her eyes, God, her eyes were a storm of hurt and fury. "You're late," she said, voice low, like she was afraid it might crack. I mumbled an apology, but the words felt hollow, like they'd been scooped out of me. Something was wrong. I could feel it in the way her fingers twitched, in the way she wouldn't meet my gaze. We walked in silence to a dive bar 2 blocks down, the kind of place where the jukebox wheezed and the bartender didn't ask questions. She slid into a booth, her hands wrapping around a glass of whiskey like it was a lifeline. "Jake knows," she said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. My heart lurched. Jake, her boyfriend of 2 years, the ex-linebacker with fists like sledgehammers and a temper that could level a room. I'd always thought he was too much for her. Too loud, too possessive, but Lena loved him or said she did. "Knows what?" I asked, though the dread pooling in my chest already knew the answer. Her laugh was bitter, sharp enough to cut. "Don't play dumb, Matt." He found the texts. My mouth went dry. Texts. Late-night messages, half-drunk confessions, the kind of reckless words you type when you're lonely and stupid and think no one's watching. I'd been in love with Lena since the day we met, but I'd buried it, or tried to, under years of friendship and bad timing. A month ago, after too many beers and a fight with Jake, she'd kissed me in her car, her lips tasting of salt and regret. It was a mistake, we said. A one-time thing. But the texts kept coming, each one a thread in a web we couldn't untangle. "He's coming here," she said, her voice trembling now. "He called me an hour ago, screaming. Said he'd snap your neck if he saw you." My pulse roared in my ears, but I forced a smile, the kind you wear when you're staring down a freight train. "He's all talk," I said, but the lie tasted like ash. Jake wasn't just talk. I'd seen the bruises on Lena's wrist, faint but real, the ones she'd brushed off as accidents. I should have said something then, done something, but love makes you a coward, doesn't it? You rationalize, you excuse, you tell yourself it's not your place. The bar door slammed open, and there he was. 6'4", shoulders like a brick wall, eyes burning with something darker than anger. The room seemed to shrink around him, the air growing thick, suffocating. Lena's glass trembled in her hand, whiskey sloshing over the rim. "Jake, don't," she said, but her voice was small, swallowed by the weight of his presence. He didn't look at her. His gaze was locked on me, and in it, I saw every promise of violence he'd ever made. "You think you can take what's mine?" he growled, stepping closer, his boots thudding like war drums. I stood, my legs unsteady, my heart a frantic animal in my chest. "It's not like that," I said, but the words were useless, a paper shield against a storm. Lena was crying now, silent tears cutting tracks down her face. I wanted to reach for her to tell her I'd fix this, but there was no fixing it. Not when Jake's hand shot out, grabbing my collar, yanking me close enough to smell the bourbon on his breath. "You're dead," he hissed, and for a moment I believed him. Then Lena was between us, her hands pushing at Jake's chest, her voice raw and desperate. "Stop it. This is my fault, not his." The confession hung in the air, heavy as a noose. Jake's eyes flickered to her, and for the first time I saw something break in him. Hurt, betrayal, the kind of pain that cuts deeper than fists. He let go of me, stumbling back, his face a mask of confusion and rage. "You," he whispered, and the word was a wound. I should have felt relief, but all I felt was the weight of what we'd done. Lena had betrayed him, and I'd helped her, not just with a kiss or texts, but by letting her believe we could outrun the consequences. The bar was silent now, the jukebox dead, the other patrons staring like we were a car wreck they couldn't look away from. Lena reached for Jake's arm, but he jerked away, his voice low and final. "We're done." He turned and walked out, the door slamming shut behind him. Lena sank into the booth, her sobs quiet but shattering. I wanted to hold her, to tell her it would be okay, but the truth was uglier than that. We'd built this moment, brick by brick, with every glance, every touch, every lie we told ourselves. I sat across from her, the distance between us wider than ever, and wondered if trust, once broken, could ever be pieced back together. Outside, the city hummed, indifferent, as the pieces of us lay scattered in the dark.